broadcasting on our YouTube channel, so we're going to be recording this and we're going to distribute it to people who weren't allowed to see us or who weren't able to see us live so that they can watch us and participate with us. So the only thing we ask is if you do see it, make sure that you mute your microphone so that there's not a lot of echoing and feedback. If you have trouble hearing or seeing anything, just let us know in that chat bar, and we'll have a lot of fun with that. So I am using my controls as best I can to mute anyone if they do, have feedback. But please double check right now that your microphone is muted so that we don't. All right, good, good, good. So here we go. Are we ready to read? Somebody let me know in the chat bar if they are ready to get the Read Aloud started. Okay. All right, is our chat bar working? Is anyone out there? Is there anyone alive out there? We are ready to go. All right, Pellingtons, we're ready. So far, this is our third Read Aloud. In the first Read Aloud, we talked about creativity, imagination, and things like that. The second Read Aloud, we had our special guest, Dr. Smith, and we read all about the Olympics, and we talked about Wilma Rudolph and some other, the ABC books. Now, if you did think about or work on an ABC book, throw it out in the chat bar and let us know that you were thinking about that and you were working on that. Because you can do that. I was actually even thinking about during this Read Aloud to throw it out there to think at a back-to-school idea of, can you think of a word or a statement or an idea for every letter of the alphabet about going back to school? Because it's a lot of fun, not just to learn and to think, but to create and to come up with new ideas. So tonight we're going to transition into a little bit of a back-to-school mode. But we've talked a lot about collaboration, and I want to give a shout-out. He's not watching right now, I don't think, but my good friend Mr. Billy, who is the principal of Slackwood Elementary School in Lawrenceville, and I used to work with Mr. Billy, but we kind of thought about the Read Aloud ideas together, and we would do some online Read Alouds. But what he did was he started a list where a lot of teachers and even principals could get together and share the ideas of the books that they liked to read for back to school. So what he did is, by inviting people to put down what they did, they generated a huge list of ideas for back-to-school books. And I took some of those ideas tonight. So we have a few back-to-school books, and I narrowed it down to two, but then one that I wanted to start with that was still on that list, and it was good for back-to-school, but I had never heard of it. So if you've ever heard of the book, The Cow Who Climbed a Tree, let me know in that chat bar. And remember, the more chatting that we do tonight, the more fun, and I'm going to be looking at it as well. So I'll be able to, A, answer any questions that come up, but B, if people make connections among each other, then that's a good thing too. But we're going to start with The Cow Who Climbed a Tree, which is not necessarily a back-to-school book the same way that, school's first day of school. That's one of the ones we might look at. And we're definitely going to look at Milk Goes to School, and I'll explain more about that because that's a connection to a book that we read last spring at the book fair kickoff. But The Cow Who Climbed a Tree, it doesn't mention school or going back to school, but it's about the idea of trying new things and of being brave and of really continuing to look at things in a new way. And that's a good idea for going back to school. As we kind of take the last few weeks, and don't get me wrong, when we talk back to school, we still have a few good weeks of summer, so don't forget to enjoy your summer and to have a great time. But the idea of starting school with an open mind and ready to learn and try new things, because that's how we get the best experience going. So you didn't come to hear me talk, we came to read a book. So we're going to start with The Cow Who Climbed a Tree, and that's by Gemma Marino. So it starts with a great picture. I really like that one. It's a cow looking up at the moon. And this is a good one too, because when we talk about features of text, we talk about sometimes one of the things that books have is a dedication. And this is dedicated to my parents who never told me my dreams were nonsense. And I like the way that starts up, because when we talk about dreams and getting excited about dreams, that's a good thing. Tina was a very curious cow. She had a thirst for discovery. Her mind was full of wonderful things, all of which her sisters found very silly. Impossible, ridiculous, nonsense, they would say every time she told them her amazing ideas. Her sisters were only interested in one thing: fresh and juicy grass. One day, when Tina was exploring the woods, she decided to try something new. She began to climb a tree. Up and up she went. So I'm beginning to think that Tina is not like an ordinary cow. When she got to the top, Tina could not believe her eyes. I think I see something very strange that is unexpected in that tree. Unlike the fierce dragon she had seen in her books, this one was friendly and a vegetarian. All afternoon, they talked about wonderful dreams and incredible stories. Tina couldn't wait to tell her sisters about her new friend. It's always nice to have a friend that you can talk to and bounce ideas off of. Like I said, my friend Mr. Billy gave me the idea of some of these new back-to-school books, which are pretty cool. But her sisters were not impressed. Dragons don't exist. Cows can't climb trees. Impossible. Ridiculous. Nonsense, they said. And with that, they went to bed. How do you think that made Tina feel? Somebody give me a comment in the chat bar. How do you think Tina feels right now? She just had an amazing day and tried to share it with her sisters. They didn't like it. But the next morning, Tina was nowhere to be found. Her sisters found a note, "Gone flying with the dragon of the woods," from Tina. Well, that was it. Tina's nonsense had gone too far. The sisters decided to go and find her and to bring her home. For the first time, they ventured beyond the farm and into the woods. They never dreamed that it would be so beautiful. And I think I see something starting to happen. I think the cows are starting to do something different that they'd never done before. So Tina's sisters are starting to get a new experience. Good question, Mrs. Baxter, wondering what Tina's thinking right now. And then they came across something very strange. Impossible, they said. But the first sister began to climb, and one after another, up they went. And I'll move it into, yeah, there we go. We'll focus it a little bit. But they all saw something impossible. It's a pig climbing a tree. And then they each went after it one by one. And now, the same people who said it was ridiculous for pigs to climb trees are climbing trees. The world beyond the fields was extraordinary. But where was Tina? Suddenly, they looked up. It was impossible. It was ridiculous. It was nonsense, but it was true. Tina was flying. And when she asked her sisters to join in, they said something they had never said before. Yes. Why not? And that is a big change from the beginning of the story because the sisters did not want any part of it. And after that, they just couldn't wait to see what else was possible. Now you have a bunch of cows sitting on a tree branch because they climbed the tree that they said they would never climb before. The end. And I like that book a lot. I had only read it for the first time yesterday because I saw it on the list and I said, oh, that's an interesting name. But the idea of instead of saying no or that's not possible, to say why not, or as the sister said, and I like going back to texts to remember, they said, yes, why not? And that is, I think, a very important thing. Especially as we head to the end of summer and back to school. We want to try new things and make the summer, the rest of the few weeks, the best that we can. But we also want to have an open mind and have a great time starting school. So that was our first book, and I hope you enjoyed it. Again, The Cow Who Climbed the Tree. And in our audience right now, how many people are excited to come back to school? Or why don't you actually tell me what you're thinking? Are you excited? Are you nervous? Are you sad, happy? How are we feeling about coming back to school? All right, good. We have some excited students. That's awesome. All right, Anna. While we think about that question and while some people answer, I'm going to put up our summer hashtag. Remember, all summer long on Twitter, we've been using our hashtag BTSummerRead. And what we do is we post pictures of ourselves reading in different scenarios and, except not just reading, also sharing ideas about if you come across a great book or author or character, but a way to communicate and to put out there, hey, I just had something great happen. I want to share it with other people. So, okay, good. Remember, as you come in, don't forget to mute your microphone so we don't hear the echo. But we're going to start with our next one, Milk Goes to School. And this is kind of funny for kids and grown-ups because it has a lot of things that are funny for kids and that are silly, but they call them puns for grown-up that make sense in a few different ways. So we're going to check this one out, and I like this one a lot because I had first heard of Terry Border, who is the author, at our book fair kickoff. I first read Peanut Butter and Cupcake, and it was pretty funny, and it talked about how Peanut Butter was new to town and he ended up with some new friends. But this one is called Milk Goes to School. So it's a good back-to-school one, and we're going to check it out. And during this one, I'm going to hold them up for extra long. I want you to see the pictures. The pictures are really cool. So, and this is, we talked about the dedication before. This dedication is for their daughter, Adeline, who told us about her day at school every afternoon. I'm happy she graduated, but I miss those stories. Okay, I think we have some unmuting happening because we're hearing some echo, but that's okay. So just double check that. But let's get started. It was the morning of the first day of school, and Milk was feeling just the tiniest bit scared. Don't worry, her dad said. You're la creme de la creme. That means the best of the best. And he gave her a brand new backpack for good luck. And again, look at these pictures because they're real items that the author just puts a funny little twist on. At school, Milk walked over to the first kids she saw. I really like your backpack, Cupcake said. Thank you, Milk answered. My dad gave it to me. He said I'm la creme de la creme. Waffle leaned over to Cupcake and whispered, I think this milk is spoiled. Milk sniffed herself. She didn't think she was spoiled. And again, I love the pictures in this book because those are real pictures, and you can see the goldfish and the cupcake and the waffles. We're telling a story. Please find a seat, everyone, said Miss Pear. Sit by me, Milk said to Cupcake. You're pretty, like I am. Yep, she's spoiled, Waffle said to himself. But Milk ignored him. She didn't think she was spoiled at all. And you see some of the different classmates. You have some apples and some eggs and a waffle. Miss Pear asked everyone to draw a picture of their family. Milk asked Carrot, would you like to share your crayons? I don't care at all, Carrot said. Like I said to Salad, let us be friends. Carrot seemed okay. Everyone did a good job, but Milk was really proud of her drawing. Don't you think it looks beautiful, she asked Carrot. Waffle looked at Carrot and said, spoiled. But Milk shook her head. She didn't think she was spoiled. She was just trying to be friendly. We'll get that focus going again. Excellent. Perfect. So again, let us be friends, and I don't care at all. These are called puns, and they're pretty funny because they make sense in the words that they are, but they also have another kind of more meaning, which is funny. So that's where sometimes when you're writing, you can do some clever things that are just beyond the normal story. Okay, and we're going to double check those microphones to make sure that we're muted. There should be a little button that looks like a microphone. You can click it to make it go mute. Okay, perfect. Okay, we're back in business. Then, Miss Pear asked the kids what they wanted to do when they grew up. Cupcake wanted to be an artist. Peanut wanted to be the first astronaut on Mars. Potato wanted to be a sailor on a gravy boat. Milk said that she could be a queen because she liked being the boss. Waffle said, she is so spoiled. You don't seem too sweet yourself, Milk said. And that's funny. The potato wanted to be the sailor on a gravy boat. That's pretty funny. Next, the class worked on their spelling. Milk couldn't wait to show the other kids what a good speller she was. So when Milk's paper got splattered, she yelled and stomped her feet. You messed it up, Soup, she said. Waffle turned to Soup and said, she's spoiled. But Milk didn't think she was spoiled. She just liked having her paper look pretty, is all. And when you look at these pictures, they're really, really detailed because they're real items, which makes it kind of cool. Later, in the library, Milk asked if someone cut the cheese. I don't like that saying, said Cheese, but I think someone tooted. Oops, sorry, said Beans. Milk started to leave. I'll curdle if I stay. Spoiled, Waffle mouthed to Beans. You don't seem too sweet yourself, said Milk. You're an awful waffle. So right now, we have people getting a little bit frustrated and saying some not nice things. And unfortunately, that does happen in school and in life. So I'm hoping right now that we can turn it around and that we can make some better choices. So I'm holding out hope because everyone makes mistakes, but I think maybe we can put it together. Let's see what happens. On the way back to class, Milk followed Waffle and Cupcake in line. Waffle, you are slower than Syrup, said Milk. That's not true, said Waffle. Syrup is way back there behind us. Cupcake turned and waved at him. Milk was not happy. She was just trying to be friendly. And that's another saying. Slower than syrup or slower than molasses is a real saying, so it's kind of funny. Back in the classroom, they watched a movie that showed baby chicken nuggets hatching. They were so cute, but Ed got worried because he didn't want something to hatch from him. Milk said, "Don't worry, I think you might be a rotten egg." "Look who's talking," answered Egg, and then both of them got in trouble for arguing. "They're both being spoiled," Waffle said to Cupcake. Milk decided she did not like Waffle. These pictures are very silly because they're real chicken nuggets. At recess, Milk watched as Apple asked Waffle how they would get more kids to play tag. "Ice cream!" yelled Waffle. "Really?" Apple yelled. "Why would you do that?" "Ice cream!" yelled Waffle. "I know, I heard you," said Apple, "and it's scaring me." Waffle said, "I'm just trying to get Ice Cream's attention over there. Ice Cream! Hey, Ice Cream! Would you like to play?" Milk wished someone would invite her to play. She knew what Waffle would say if she asked, and Milk didn't think she was spoiled at all. And remember, take a moment if you're just joining us to make sure that your microphone is muted so that it doesn't. Just look for the little microphone picture and click on it. I should be able to do it from here, but it is not working right this second. That's okay. Okay, and it might be up at the top of your screen with a picture of a camera, a picture of a microphone, and a person. Well, we'll get going. At the end of recess, Celery lost a raisin, and everyone helped look for it. After a while, Milk admitted she had already thrown it away when she found it sticking to her shoe. She did offer to get him a new one, but Waffle rolled his eyes. Milk wasn't sure if she liked school at all, or if any of the kids liked her. So it's starting to be a very tough day for Milk. And how many people, let me see some people in the chat, how many people have had a tough day before, whether it's at school or at home over the summer? How many people have had a day that just didn't seem to be going right? And there's Logan, he's with us. He's had some tough days before. But on the way back to class, Milk was too sad to watch where she was going. Notice Banana's peel. She slipped and spilled herself all over the floor. "Oh no!" "Quick, someone bring me some kittens," laughed Egg. "I bet we can make some good cottage cheese out of that spoiled milk," laughed Waffle. "If we jump up and down, I think we can make that milk shake," laughed Beans. So now we have some different foods being not very nice to each other. And like I said before, I think we can still hopefully fix it up. All right. Cupcake was worried and began to cry. Milk might be a little spoiled, but she did ask me to sit by her this morning. And when we drew pictures, she did share her best crayon, said Carrot. Plus, she said she would go to the lunchroom to get me a new raisin, said Celery. And milk does help grow strong teeth and bones, said Barbecue Chicken. Let's not cry over spilled milk, said Miss Pear. We'll mop her up and get her back into her carton in no time. During all of this, while she was just a big puddle, Milk heard her classmates. She was surprised any of them cared about her, especially because maybe she had been acting a little bit, just the tiniest bit, spoiled. So Milk admits that she was a little bit spoiled. but I think it's coming to a good place. But the excitement wasn't over for the day. As soon as Milk was back in her carton, all of the kids were back in the classroom. Cupcake got a whiff of Pepper, who was standing nearby, and said, shoo! Oops, said Cupcake. Everyone waited for Milk to get steamed, but she didn't yell or stamp her feet. It's okay, Cupcake. It was an accident, said Milk. Now we all look like la creme de la creme. The whole class laughed, even Waffle. I was wrong about you, Waffle said to Milk. You're not too spoiled. That's nice of you to say, said Milk. You actually seem pretty sweet yourself. The end. So it turns out Milk's first day of school ended up being pretty good after all. And one of the cool things that I found when we were looking at some of these books are when you look at a book, you're not just looking at that book, you're looking at an author and some of the other things that they do. And the author of Milk Goes to School, his name is Terry Border, and he's actually an artist too. And he has a whole website that has different pictures of of food and other objects in acting like people in strange ways. So it's a lot of fun, and if you have time, you can look at it. It's by Terry Border. So anytime that there's a book, there's more to it than usually just the words in that book. There's other books, and there's other things that the author does. So those are the books we're going to read tonight. I did mention another one. I'm going to share it with you just so that if you want to take a look at it, you can. It's called School's First Day of School. And this is neat because there's an author and an illustrator. The story's by Adam Rex, who's kind of a famous author, but the pictures are by Christian Robinson. He's a very famous illustrator as well, and he draws a lot of diverse pictures and stuff. But this book was about a school that's just being built and all the different students, and it's about a first day of school, but from the school's point of view, not the student. So it's really cool in that way. So if you have some time, check that out. It's called School's First Day of School. But I wanted to see how many people would join us in a bedtime evening read aloud, because that's one of my favorite times to read too. And I have Christopher and Colin and Logan, who you just saw a minute ago, and Maeve, who's only 2. But we like to do some read alouds and do some reading right before bedtime. So that sometimes is a better time than right in the middle of the day. So I want to thank everyone who joined us. And remember, while school's coming around the way, don't forget to use Twitter and that hashtag BTSummerRead to post some pictures of things that are of you reading in some different favorite places, some different ideas that you have about reading. And speaking of reading, check your email tomorrow for a very special email from the school that will have class placement information. Is anybody really interested in that, though? Just kidding. I know that that's a very big one. So that'll have class placement information and all the other information. So take a look at that. That'll be coming out somewhere after 4 o'clock tomorrow. So thank you very much. I hope you're having a great summer. If you need anything at all, reach out, and have a great night. Thank you. See you soon.